This UI style is called Neumorphism, and in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to recreate it in After Effects. Alright, so we'll first start with a composition called Gradient Background 1920 by 1080. Set a white solid, and then we're going to put a 5-point star in the middle of the screen here. And we're going to give it a linear gradient. I'm going to put a light blue and a light green, but you can put it whatever color you'd like. Then I'm going to put a fastbox blur on it with a blur radius of 80, a wave warp with a type of unicircle, and I'm going to crank up the wave height and wave width and change the direction. Going to give it a wave speed of 0.2. Then I'm going to duplicate that wave warp and lower the wave height and change the angle. And finally, I'm going to give it a noise of 7%. And I'm going to keyframe the rotation. I'm going to give it an expression time times 50. And then I'm going to center the anchor point on the star. And now when I play that, we have this nice gradient background here. Now I'm going to put this gradient in my scene and start on the first scene here. So I'm going to make a rounded rectangle with a size of 325 by 700. And I'm going to put a radial gradient here, and most of it's going to be white, but I do want this kind of semicircle of the same blue and green color at the very top, and I'll position it like this. Then I'm going to add a drop shadow to the rectangle, and I'm going to give it these settings, and I'm going to duplicate it and do another one with white on the opposite end here. And then I'm going to draw a circle in the middle and center it. Then duplicate that circle and size it down a little bit, color it red just so we can see it. And then the other one, color it gray for now just so we can see it, and positioning it like so. And I'm going to copy the drop shadow from the shape layer 1. And then I'm going to sample some of the light bluish white color. I'm going to make a new composition for AI agent. And I'll make a circle with no fill and a wide stroke. And I'm going to keep duplicating these and make a bunch of them and just kind of put them together here in the green and blue color. Then I'm going to track matte them within a circle. Then I'm going to bring that to our main comp and then size it down a little bit. I'm also going to add a time times 50 expression on the rotation so that it is rotating. I'm going to track matte it to that red circle and then give it a slight fastbox blur of just 2, and then a wave warp set to unicircle. And then I'm just going to play with the settings here. That looks good. And then I need to just add one more circle here as a background layer. So I'm going to track matte it again and then put it below the gradient so that it fills the entire circle. That looks pretty good. I'll increase the fastbox blur a little bit here to about 10. And I'll also add an expression on the direction for the wave warp, time times 5. And that looks pretty good. Then I'll make a new composition for our AI agent. I'll make a perfect circle here, turn off the stroke, and turn on a radial gradient for the fill. Half of it will be no opacity, and the outer area will have about a green. And then I'm going to make a bunch of dots. And just duplicate them here, spread them out. Use the line tool to draw a path connecting all of them. And then I'm going to go to the line path and going to go to window and create nulls from path. I'm going to click points follow nulls, and that's going to create a null for each point in that line. And then I'm just going to parent each ball to the null point that it's on, so that when it's done, I'm going to put a position wiggle expression on each ball, and then they're going to move around in space. So here I'm going to add a wiggle 115 to each of these balls on the position, just like so. And now they all move around like that. Then I'm going to put the main circle above it. I'll size it down a little bit, put it directly over that. And then I'm going to put an adjustment layer below it and add a deep glow. Then I'll move the AI agent comp into our main comp, size it down a little bit, and then just put it in that circle right above the gradient. Then I'm going to separate the dimensions, and on the Y position, I'm going to add a wiggle 17 on the AI agent. And I'm going to add an inner glow. I'm going to sample that blue and then crank it up a little bit on the size. And then I'm also going to do the same thing with the scale at a wiggle 19. Then I'm going to add 2 eyes here with just 2 black rounded rectangles. Parent them to the AI agent. Then I'm going to add a null to parent the eyes to, and I will separate the position at a wiggle 110. I'll actually change it to a wiggle 120 for the eyes, so they move up and down. Then I'm just going to finish this design by adding some circles for the buttons. And I'm going to copy the drop shadow from our main layer and paste it, and then just adjust it. All these buttons will have similar drop shadow. And I'll just duplicate those buttons, size them down, and then move them into place. Duplicate them again and move those up top. Align them. And I'm noticing that the adjustment layer is showing up, so I track map the adjustment layer to the circle layer in the AI agent pre-comp. Now I'm going to add a white layer here that we can't see, and I'm going to put a random audio file here. You can put any audio file that you want, and I'm going to add audio spectrum to the shape layer. I'm going to put the source as the audio file. And then I'm going to play with the audio spectrum so that the waveform is exactly in that white shape layer. And then I'm just going to change the colors to the green and blue. And now we see that when we play, it plays the audio file as if it's that AI agent. Then I'm going to add an icon here, and then I'm going to draw some lines to make another icon. And then I'll just create some triangles for the lower buttons here. Give it a fill of green. Give it some round corners, turn off the stroke, and just put it in place. Then duplicate them, turn them gray for the outer buttons here. And then just add 2 lines. And then I'll parent everything to the main background layer, the main shape layer. And then I will just keyframe the position for the reveal animation. I'll keyframe it popping in from the bottom here. Just like that. And then I'll also keyframe the scale and opacity for the AI agent. And now we'll pre-comp that entire thing except for the gradient background layer here. And I will hide and lock that layer and we'll get started on the next one. So we'll draw another rounded rectangle with a size of about 500 by 891. I'll set the roundness to 100 and I'll make the color off-white. I'll call that main layer and add our drop shadows. I'll add a blue with a high distance and softness, and I'll duplicate the blue and add a white on the other end. Then I will add some text here. Then I'll create a circle at the top right. And I'll go to our main layer and copy the drop shadows, just one blue and one white, and paste it on there and adjust it. Like so, lower it down a little bit, and then I'm going to duplicate that layer a couple times to make our element here. Then play with the drop shadows, make the middle one orange. Then I'm just going to sample a very light blue for that color on the top circle there. And I'm going to do the same thing for the main layer. Now I'm going to make a credit card. I'm going to add a rectangle with a roundness of 25 and then add some circles here with a 10% opacity fill and then a solid 1-point stroke. Duplicate it. And then for the third one, 3-point stroke with no fill and place them over the credit card like that. Track mat them to the credit card and then give the credit card a gradient stroke of white and light blue. Then copy the drop shadow. Then I'll add circles for the MasterCard symbol, just making it here the red and orange. And I'll add text. I'm using enter text here. Then adding the credit card number, the fake credit card number. Lower that down. Then here I'm going to make a circle with a small bevel and emboss. Going to change the shadow color to a light blue. Center that here. Then I'm going to duplicate it and change that one like so. Change the size of the bevel to 0.5. Then I'm going to duplicate it again, delete the bevel on the next layer, and then size it down like this. And give it a linear fill of white to light blue. Then I'm going to add some lines here. Give them bevel and emboss, and then I'm going to duplicate a few of these. Going to make 4 total and position them like this. Then I'm going to duplicate the credit card layer and I'm going to move it out and then track mat it to our main layer. Then just play with the drop shadow. Then duplicate the text to add the bottom parts here, to add the chart. Then I'll make a perfect circle to the right to build out the chart. I'll give it a off-white color, give it a drop shadow. Basically the same drop shadow, just adjust it a little bit. Then a bevel and emboss. Adjust the size. Then duplicate it and lower that one down a little bit. Give it a blue color. Then I'm just going to use the line tool to make parts of the graph, and I'm going to use the color from all 6 of those dots. Then eventually, when I'm done making these shapes, I'll track mat it to the blue circle. Then track mat all of them to the blue circle, then turn on the blue circle. Then duplicate that main circle layer again and size it down. And put a money amount there, $4,823.52. Then I'm just playing with the drop shadow of that top circle. And I'm just going to add 2 more buttons right above the chart. Then I'm going to add, I'm going to size these up a little bit and move the position to make it a little bit better. And I'm going to add bell icon that I got from Figma. Play with the drop shadows. All right, and now it's time to keyframe everything. So I'm going to keyframe the scale and opacity on everything, going from 0 to 100 on every layer, and easy ease them, and then put the peak on the left, and then I'm just going to offset these layers so that the main rectangle layer, the first rectangle layer, comes first, and then everything from top to bottom comes after it. And there you go.